Hello everyone, my name is Keely. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. This video will end when I finally read a 5-star book. So I haven't done one of these videos before, but I've wanted to for a while, and I feel like right now is the perfect time to do it because my reading in January has been horrible. Now I have had one 5-star read, but my average rating for this month is like a 2 point something. So I really need to read books right now that I think are gonna be 5 stars and I really hope would be 5 stars. I mean, I always go into a book hoping I'm gonna love it and thinking I will, but this month has been very disappointing, and so I am trying to fix that before my yearly rating is already down the drain. So I have a few books that I want to read for this video, but of course I don't know how many books I'm gonna need to read. Hopefully it's just one. That would be awesome if I got a 5-star the first one. It wouldn't be a very interesting video, but it would be great for me. But the first book I'm gonna start with could go either way, honestly, and that is His and Hers by Alice Feeney. So I don't know what this is about. I know it's probably an adult thriller with a crazy twist. So the reason this could go either way is because Rock, Paper, Scissors was 5 stars for me, one of my favorite books the year I read it. However, on the other hand, Daisy Darker was one of the worst books I've ever read, and I think I gave that one probably 1 star. So she could literally be a 5-star writer or a 1 star for me. I don't know where this is gonna go, and it might be middle of the road. That would be better than a 1 star at least. But I'm hoping this is another 5-star from Alice Feeney. I haven't heard a lot about this book in particular, and the things that I have heard haven't been like the most amazing. I'm thinking that her most loved book is Rock, Paper, Scissors, and in my opinion, that is the best book she's written, but I've only read 2 of hers. I do want to read all of her books because I love that book so much, but I am also scared because I hated Daisy Darker so much. So hopefully I will love this one. I know it will be a quick read. It's not very long, and Alice Feeney's writing is always fun and fast-paced, and so I'm looking forward to that. But as I get into this one, I will finally tell you what it's about, because like I said, I don't know what it's about yet. I'm just going to go into it and hope that it's a 5-star. So wish me luck. Let's commence this 5-star search. So yesterday I started His and Hers, but before I update you on this, I have 2 other updates for you. First and foremost, look how cute my new sweater is. I love pink. Like, in the last year I became recently really obsessed with pink, and I just think it's so cute. Second of all, I started another book alongside His and Hers. So I, at this moment in my life, in my reading journey, I always have a physical book and an ebook going. And because this is physical, I decided to start an ebook today while I was at work. So like during lunch and stuff, when I pick up a book, it's easier to just pick up an ebook. So I started Mermaids Never Drown, and this is a anthology collection all about mermaid stories from a ton of different authors. And this is actually the second book in this like anthology series that they're doing. The first one was Vampires Never Die, and I do have fond memories of that. I read it a few years ago. Like I had an arc of it, so when it first came out, and there were obviously some stories I didn't like, but there were some 5 stars from that collection as well. And of course you can see my channel name, vampirekeeley, so I liked that one. And this one I was looking forward to because it is a great way to introduce yourself to new authors, and I love anthologies. So I was excited to start this one. And little fun fact, before I was Vampirekeeley, in college I was Mermaidkeeley. So I feel like this collection is just like going through my phases of life. So anyway, Mermaids Never Drown. I got to 30% today. I read a lot, and some of the stories not starting out too great, but let me go get my phone. Where's my phone? Because I have written down what I rated each story so far. Okay, so the first story, Storm Song by Rebecca Coffindaffer, I gave 3 stars. The second one, We'll Always Have June by Julian Winters, also 3 stars. The third one, The Story of a Knife by Gretchen Schreiber, I gave 4 stars. That one was a little more horror, which I liked. The fourth one, The Dark Cause by Preeti Cheever, I gave 2 stars. Did not really have any interest in that one. And then the last one I read was Return to the Sea by Kaylin Bayron, and I gave that one 4 stars. That one actually made me tear up a little bit, so that's a good sign, but no 5-star yet. Hopefully I get one. But as a whole, I'm rating that collection as a whole, and I know it's not gonna be 5 stars clearly because none of the stories have been 5 stars, so it's not gonna be the book that ends this video, but I do want to update it along the way. As for His and Hers, started this one yesterday. I'm on page like 52, and the synopsis. We follow his and her. Okay, seriously, we follow a man and a woman. The man is a detective, the woman is a BBC news anchor, and somehow, some way, they are both connected to this murder that happens in a small town. Now that's all I'm really going to tell you because that's all I know so far and kind of all that's in the synopsis. So it's interesting so far, but I'm not extremely gripped yet. I really don't care about either of the characters, so we'll see what happens, because when I read Daisy Darker, the reason why I hated that book so much was because I hated the characters, so I'm hoping these characters are more enjoyable to read from. The murder's really interesting, and I'm also dying to see how both of these people are connected to this murder. And the way the story is told is also interesting, like the his and hers format. Like, we see the characters' names at the very beginning, and then throughout the story, the chapter point of views are just his and hers. So interesting, intriguing. I will update you probably when I'm like halfway through this, and hopefully things go good, but we will see. I am itching for a 5-star. Okay, I have a ridiculous amount of updates for you because I am currently reading 4 books, so I need to talk about all of them. First and foremost, the star of the hour, his and hers. So, main event of this vlog, because this is the first book that I actually started. How many pages am I on now? I'm on page 115, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I am really enthralled with what's going on, and both characters are like so morally gray, and there's so much I want to know because every time they say something, they're hiding something. There is a secret for both of them, and also not to mention the whole murder. And I want to know what happened with that. So I'm very interested in this. It could be 5 stars, but it also could not be. So we'll see where it goes, but I am definitely enjoying it way more than I did Daisy Darker, which is a great feeling. So maybe Alice Feeney isn't a flop for me, and I might actually like love her again. I would love that for me. But yeah, so that's going good so far. And then Mermaids Never Drown, I updated you about that one, and now I am 90% of the way through. So after I film this update, I'm actually going to sit down and I'm going to finish the last 10%. I think I have like 45 minutes left or something. I have like one more story left, I think. So maybe less than 45 minutes. And I will tell all of my thoughts when I am done with that, so I can finally like just like wrap it up. I will say, I was not enjoying it initially, but these later stories are getting a lot better than the first ones, so that is a good feeling. But yes, I will definitely wrap up my thoughts when I have finished that, and I will also tell you my favorite stories from that. Now, another book I am reading is Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I am a high school English teacher, freshman English, and we just started reading Lord of the Flies yesterday, so today we finished chapter 1, so I am on page 32 of that. Now this is a reread for me, so I will tell you it is not going to be 5 stars. However, I am hoping that I enjoy it a lot more this time around than I did when I read it on my own the first time, because it'll be a lot more fun to dive deeper into it and to also teach the kids through it. But yeah, I'm reading that one. I know it's not going to be 5 stars, so it's not going to be the ending book for this video. And then another book I am reading. This one is called, I should have pulled it up before I started talking to you, because this is a series. It's the fourth book in a series, and I get the titles mixed up. This one is 5 Dark Fates by Kendara Blake. This is book 4 and the final book in the 3 Dark Crowns series. And I listened to it this morning on my run. So I am, I think, 13% of the way through that. And I really enjoyed this series. If you don't know, the first book follows 3 different sisters, and they all live in this world. It is a fantasy book. I know. Fantasy for me, crazy. And so we have 3 sisters, and they are triplets, and they all have different magical abilities. One is a naturalist, one is an elementalist, and then one is a poisoner. And they all grow up in different parts of the world because on their 16th birthday they have to come together, and only one queen can live. So this is obviously the 4th book, so I can't tell you about it, but I do enjoy the series. I like the characters, and I love the different magic that's involved. It's a lot of fun, and the chapters are short, so it's great. But yeah, I started that this morning, but my main objectives right now are finishing Mermaids Never Drown, literally right now, and then making more progress in His and Hers, because this one right now is my favorite of the 4 books I'm reading so far. But of course I will update you probably tomorrow, even though I'm gonna finish Mermaids Never Drown right now. Actually, maybe I can not be lazy and film when I finish that. So maybe I'll see you in a little bit. I mean, obviously it will be a little bit for you, but maybe also a little bit for me. Okay, so I just finished Mermaids Never Drown, and it only took me about like 30 more minutes, and I took the average, I added everything all up together and did the math, and it came out to 3.7 stars, so I am rounding that up to a 4 stars on Goodreads, which I am pleased with because I did not expect it to be 4 stars. Because like I said, it started out a little rough and then it got better by the end of it, and a lot of my favorite stories were more towards the end of this. And I also discovered I did not like the ones with fantasy like mermaids. I loved the ones that had mermaids in our world. So another whole fantasy thing, that fantasy is not for me. I did not like the fantasy aspect in the mermaid stories. So let me tell you some of my favorites. So The Nightingale's Lament by Carrie Maniscalco. I love that one, and that one was definitely not YA. That one was spicy. Like, this is a YA collection, I believe, and all of the other stories are pretty much YA, and this one was a little hot. And I've read Carrie Maniscalco before, and I love her, so I'm not surprised by that. And then Nor'easter by Catherine Locke. I've never read anything from this author, and I really love that one. That one was more historical, which was really cool. And then The Marrow by Zoraida Cordova and Natalie C. Parker. That one was really cool. It was about a mermaid who was like in captivity, like in an aquarium. And then 6,000 Miles by Julie C. Dow, which was the very last story in this collection, which was a great way to end. And this one was Vietnamese inspired. And all of these stories, I haven't said it yet, are extremely diverse. Like, this collection, not only are the authors, but the stories as well, just a lot of diversity going on, which is really great because you also get to see a lot of mermaid legends from different cultures, which is really cool. So yeah, 4 stars overall. Still not a 5 star, but I also didn't expect it to be because it's an anthology. But I did finish another book, and that is actually my 14th book for January, which is really good. So I'm going to watch some YouTube and probably continue with his and hers. Since I've last talked to you, I've started 2 books and finished 1. So let's get updating. It is now Sunday, and yesterday I finished His and Hers by Alice Feeney, and I really enjoyed this one. I am so glad to find out that Alice Feeney isn't a flop for me. Like I said, I've given her 5 stars and I've given her 1 star. This was a 4 star, so not quite 5, but I am so surprised with how much I loved it because I was really thinking that it was going to go the other way just based on the last book of hers that I read. But the 2 characters in here were so interesting to follow because they were hiding so many things and so many secrets, and it wasn't in an annoying way. It was like you would slowly find out more and more each chapter, and this book is messed up. Let me tell you, some of the things we find out and discover in here and some of the things we read made me feel so icky. And I feel like in a thriller and horror book, if it can make you feel icky, then that's part of its job. And it definitely did. It made me feel uncomfortable at parts, which I don't mind. But definitely look up trigger warnings because this one gets dark and I did not expect it to go that direction. But I'm not mad at it. The reason why this was 4 stars instead of 5 stars is because the big reveal, the big ending scene went in a way that I didn't want it to. Like, I mean, I didn't expect it to go that way, but I was hoping the reveal would be different, and I don't want to go into too much, but I was hoping, I think it would be cooler if it went in a different way. So 4 stars for this, but I'm so glad that Alice Feeney is being solidified as a favorite author instead of a flop for me. Of course, I still need to read a few of her other books. She just had a new release come out, so we'll see if she continues to go up or if she just goes back down. But yes, I did finish that, and then the other book I started on Friday. Since I finished my last ebook, I needed to start another one, and I randomly decided to pick up The Infinity Chords by Akemi Dawn Bowman. And the reason I picked this one up was because in my phone, I have a list going back like 2 years of all of my anticipated releases, and this was the oldest one on that list, and I looked in the library and it was available, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna read it. And I did not know what it was about, but then when I reread the synopsis, I was like, this sounds so cool. Okay, so this is actually an older young adult sci-fi novel, and I like sci-fi, but I don't read a whole lot of it. And so in this world, we follow this girl, and she is 18, and this is in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler. She dies. So she's dead, and in this book, she wakes up in this kind of afterlife, but in the afterlife, AI has taken over. So she is joining kind of like the rebels and trying to defeat this AI in the afterlife so they can have like a normal afterlife. What? It sounds so cool, and the fact that we follow a dead girl and like all the characters we meet are dead is really fascinating. So I am what, like 21% of the way through that, and I'm really enjoying it, which I just did not expect. Obviously it was my most anticipated releases, I think, of 2021, but I did not remember it, and maybe part of the reason I put this on my list was because of the cover. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And then yesterday I started another book because I finished his and hers. So I started The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan. This is book 1 in the Trials of Apollo series, which is also part of the Percy Jackson world. But in this series in particular, we follow the god Apollo, and he is being punished, and his punishment is being sent down to Earth, and he has to live his life as a mortal teenager. Of course, I have loved like every Rick Riordan book I've ever read. Most of them are 5 stars, so that's why I am thinking this one will be as well. But I was nervous going into it because I don't love Apollo. He's really arrogant and narcissistic, but he is so funny because his voice in this I'm actually really loving. And this is actually told in the point of view, I always forget the POV, but when he's like, you mortals did this, you did that. And I love that. It is so funny and I'm really enjoying it, and I am already on page 150. So that's going good. I would love to finish this today. Of course, because this is like an older middle grade, it does read fast. And just being back in this world, we've gotten to see Percy and Nico and Chiron, and we're at the camp right now. And I just love this world so much. And I'm just really surprised and happy, pleasantly surprised, that I am enjoying following Apollo. All right, so those are the books that I'm currently reading and I have finished. So no 5 stars yet, but we are on the up and up because I'm really enjoying all the books I am reading right now. But this update has been long enough, so I will see you hopefully maybe when I have finished The Hidden Oracle, if I finish today. There are 2 football games on today, and I love watching the games and reading at the same time, so we'll see what happens, but I will see you when I see you. It's time for this vlog to end, because I read a 5-star. The Hidden Oracle by Rick Riordan. This is 5 stars, and I loved it. I truly loved it. I loved being back in this world, and this entire book took place at Camp Half-Blood, which I did not realize, and I just love being at camp. This book truly felt like coming home, and I love seeing like the old characters that we already know and love, as well as meeting new ones. But one of the characters that we already know showed up in this book, and I started crying when they walked in because I was just so excited to see them, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of the series holds, because of course we are going on an adventure trying to fulfill a prophecy. And I also really loved Apollo in this book. Like I said before, I was worried to follow him because he is arrogant and narcissistic, and I didn't think I would like him, even though I am a self-proclaimed narcissist as well. But I loved him so much, and he has really great character development in here, and I truly love to see that growth from him. So yes, 5 stars. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because it's Rick Riordan, but I am kind of surprised that I found a 5-star as quick as I did. I thought it would take longer, and it only took me like a few more books to find it, and the books I read in the meantime, I was also really enjoying those. So what a great way to do this vlog, because I enjoyed a lot of the books I read, and I am still currently reading some of the books I mentioned, so you will have to wait to find out my thoughts on those. But I'm so pleased to end January on a 5-star. But that is it for this video. If you have made it this far, go ahead and leave the star emoji, of course. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all my social media links will be down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!